We were having negotiations with these lunatics, and it was my opinion that they were going to attack first. They were going to attack. If we didn't do it, they were going to attack first. I felt strongly about that. So if anything, I might have forced Israel's hand. But Israel was ready, and we were ready. And the leader of the pack is gone. And as you know, 49 people were taken out in the first hit. And I guess there was another hit today on the new leadership. And it looks like that was...
Guys, this is not just another Trump lie. This is absolutely disgusting. And it shows exactly how desperate and out of control he has become. Yesterday, Donald Trump stood in the Oval Office and openly bragged that he forced Israel's hand into launching this devastating war with Iran. He said it like it was some kind of genius move. But just 24 hours earlier, his own Secretary of State and National Security Advisor Marco Rubio told a completely different story.
Yeah, your statement is false, so that's not what I was asked very specifically. Were you there yesterday?
Yes, I asked
okay.
a question.
No, were you the one that, because somebody asked me a question yesterday, did we go in because of Israel? And I said, you were asking me that follow-up, and I said, no. I told you this had to happen anyway. The president made a decision, and the decision he made was that Iran was not going to be allowed to hide behind its ballistic missile program, that Iran was not going to be allowed to hide behind its ability to conduct these attacks. That decision had been made. The president systematically made a decision to systematically destroy this terroristic capability that they had, and we carried that out. I was very clear in that answer. This was a question of timing, of why this had to happen as a joint operation, not the question of the intent. Once the president made a decision that negotiations were not going to work, that they were playing us on the negotiations, and that this was a threat that was untenable.
That the U.S. had to strike first to stop Iran from attacking American troops. This is not a small mix-up. This is the President of the United States contradicting his top foreign policy official on live television about who actually started a war. Let's break this down right now. Legally speaking, this is one of the most troubling moments we've seen from any administration in recent memory. According to the roll call report published today, the 3rd of March 2026, Donald Trump stood in the Oval Office and openly bragged, "No, I might have forced their hand. I felt strongly about that. So, if anything, I might have forced Israel's hand." That single statement raises serious constitutional red flags under the War Powers Resolution of 1973. That law was passed specifically to stop presidents from unilaterally dragging America into wars without consulting Congress and reporting within 48 hours. By proudly admitting he pressured a sovereign ally into launching this conflict during ongoing negotiations, Trump isn't just testing the limits of executive power, he's treating U.S. foreign policy like his own personal chess game. Morally, this is completely bankrupt. This is the same Donald Trump who campaigned on America First, repeatedly promised to end endless wars in the Middle East, and spent years attacking previous administrations for getting us into foreign quagmires. Now he's taking personal credit for pushing Israel into a major war that has already killed Iran's Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei and risks American lives.
Great nations do not fight endless wars.
And the contradiction makes it even worse. Just the day before, his own Secretary of State and National Security Advisor Marco Rubio told reporters at the Capitol, "We knew that there was going to be an Israeli action."
Casualties. And so the president made the very wise decision. We knew that there was going to be an Israeli action. We knew that that would precipitate an attack against American forces. And we knew that if we didn't preemptively go after them before they launched those attacks, we would suffer higher casualties and perhaps even higher those killed.
We knew that if we didn't preemptively go after them, we would suffer higher casualties. When the president and his top national security team can't even keep their stories straight about who started a war, that's not leadership. That's dangerous, reckless dysfunction at the highest level of government. This isn't strength. This is the kind of moral and legal recklessness that gets people killed and destabilizes the entire region. This is why this matters to every single American. Because this isn't just a silly he said, she said. Between Trump and Rubio, this is a fundamental breakdown in the leadership of the United States government at a moment when American troops are already in harm's way and the world is watching. According to the roll call report published today, the 3rd of March 2026, Trump is now openly taking personal credit for pushing Israel into this war, while his own Secretary of State Marco Rubio told Congress and the public just the day before that the U.S. had to strike preemptively to protect American forces. And remember what Trump himself said about Iraq. When you remove a leader and create a power vacuum without a plan, you get ISIS. Now he's doing the same thing in Iran, admitting on camera that he hasn't thought much about who replaces Khamenei because most of the people we had in mind are dead. This is a direct threat to our democracy. That kind of public contradiction at the highest level doesn't just embarrass us on the world stage, it weakens our alliances, confuses our enemies, and leaves every American wondering who is actually in charge. Democrats like Senate Intelligence Vice Chairman Mark Warner are already calling this uncharted territory, pointing out there was no imminent threat to the United States, only to Israel, and warning that the goals of this operation have already shifted multiple times. When the president treats matters of war and peace like his personal reality show and can't even keep his own administration on the same page, it puts American lives, American tax dollars, and American credibility at risk. This is exactly why the midterms in 2026 are going to be the most important election of our lifetime. We need a Congress that can finally provide real oversight and make sure this kind of dangerous dysfunction never happens again. This plan has backfired spectacularly and left Trump and the entire MAGA movement completely humiliated in front of the whole country. For years, Trump sold himself as the ultimate strongman, the guy who would never get America dragged into another Middle East war. Yesterday, he tried to double down on that image by bragging he personally forced Israel's hand. Instead, he just proved the opposite. A brand new CNN poll out this morning shows 59% of Americans now disapprove of these strikes. Even worse, Trump openly admitted on camera that his team hasn't spent much time thinking about who replaces Khamenei, basically confessing there's no plan for the day after. That's the exact same mistake he once roasted George W. Bush for in Iraq, and now he's repeating it live on television. The world is watching the President of the United States and his own Secretary of State tell two completely different stories about who started this war. Trump wanted to look like the guy in total control. What he actually showed is a chaotic, uncoordinated administration making it up as they go along. Trump didn't just shoot himself in the foot, he loaded the gun with his own bragging, pointed it at his strongman brand, and pulled the trigger in front of millions of Americans. But here's the good news, and this is why we still have every reason to fight. Democrats are already stepping up with the kind of steady, principled leadership that Trump's chaos can't touch. Senate Intelligence Vice Chairman Mark Warner is calling for immediate congressional oversight. House Democrats, led by Hakeem Jeffries, are demanding full briefings and a clear exit strategy. Progressive voices like Bernie Sanders and AOC are reminding Americans that endless wars and reckless foreign policy have never made us safer, and the American people are listening. This is exactly why Democrats have the momentum heading into the midterms. Polls show independents and even some moderate Republicans are fed up with the dysfunction. Every time Trump brags about forcing allies into war while his own team contradicts him, he hands Democrats the perfect contrast: stability versus chaos, oversight versus one-man show, competence versus clown car. This is the secret weapon that could flip the House in 2026. When voters see a president who can't even keep his own Secretary of State on the same page about a war he claims to control, they remember why checks and balances exist. They remember why we need a Congress that actually does its job. Finally, Trump is meeting his match not with bombs, but with accountability, facts, and the power of the American people at the ballot box. We're not powerless, we're organized, and we're just getting started.